Welcome back. Now that we are familiar with data quality checks, joining data, doing simple transformations, and also doing aggregations, let's put it all together and satisfy a business requirement. So the business requirement that I've come up with here is to identify the percentage of cash and credit card transactions by borough. And the example data looks like this. So we want to break down using the borough. So the borough, as you know, comes from the taxi zone file. And then we want to have the total number of trips made from each of those borough. And amongst those, we want to have a breakdown of cash trips and the card trips. And also, we want to get a percentage of each of those. So 751 out of 2019 is 37.2%. So that's kind of what we've got here. The idea is that once we have this information, we can do some campaigns to encourage more card payments. So it's a reasonable requirement and we'll have to join 2 or 3 datasets. I would like it to do 3. That's because I want you to get the borough from the taxi zone trip data, from the trip data file, all of these things. And then to identify the payment type, I would like you to join to the payment type file as well, which will have the description having card or cash. So instead of using the values 1 and 2, I think 1 is card and 2 is cash. Instead of doing them, dive into the dataset and use the description so that you will get to join 3 different tables and then get the results you want. So good luck with the assignment. If you get stuck, please come back and I'll take you through my solution. Welcome back. I hope you've managed to complete the assignment successfully. I'll now take you through my solution. So the solution here is slightly different to what we've done previously. That's because I've chosen to use a CTE or common table expression in T-SQL. So CTE basically gives you the ability to give a name for a result set. In the past, behind these open row set commands in the from clause and then be joined it from there. That looked a bit messy. So what I have done is I've used the CTE. In CTE, I've got each of the select statements. As you can see, you've got the select from the payment type file here, similar to what we did within payment type here. Exactly the same, to be honest. Actually, I just copied from there and put it here, give it a name, and I called it v_payment type. And then I've got the next one, which is the taxi zone. And again, I've given a name v_taxi zone, and then I've got the select statement and select statement for selecting from the taxi zone. And then I've got the trip data in a similar manner. I call it v_trip data. Now you can forget about all of these things and you can use them similar to how you would use a normal table. So that's kind of what I've done. Ignore the columns in the select for the moment. Let's look at the from. So here I've joined the trip data to payment type and also to taxi zone. But I've done the left join here. As you can see, the left join on the payment type is because we saw some records having nulls as the payment type. This could be a simple inner join, but just left it as left join because here actually every location ID existed on both of the files. And after the joins, I've got the where clause where actually I limited the payment type description to be cash and credit card. So that is the case with the uppercase C and credit card with the uppercase C here as well. So make sure you use the same casing as well. Otherwise you might get incorrect results. And what we have done here is we've taken the borough from the taxi zone. And that's exactly what we used on the group by and the order by. And we've done the count one to get the total number of trips. So that would give us the total number of trips. And then we did the cash trips this way. So this is like a little hack. So you can use a sum and then you can say case when the description is cash, give it a value of 1, otherwise 0. So every record which is a cash transactions is going to have a value of 1 and the other cards have got a value of 0. And then when you do an aggregation using sum, it's going to add up all the ones and then give you the cash trips. And similarly, I've done the card trips, but now the description is credit card and I have used the same thing here. But now I've used the cash trips, the same sum statement from here. And then I divide that by the total number of trips here to get the percentage. So if it's a percentage, when you divide this number by that number, you're going to have a decimal value and then multiply that by 100 to get the percentage. And then I formatted the value with a 5,0. So if you get 100, you'll get 100.00. Otherwise, it'll be like 99.07, whatever that is. So similarly, I've done the exact same thing here as well. One more thing you may notice here is that I've costed one of these fields, so here I've done the count as a decimal. You could have done it on this as well. Anyone is fine. The only reason is if you do 2 integer divisions, then you won't get the decimal points. That's the main reason I've done the cast to a decimal. So you have the decimal values here. So let me run this through and let me see the results. And as you can see here, we got each of the borough listed, and we got the total trips and the cash trips and the card trips and the percentage. And as you can see, some of the boroughs have got quite a high percentage of card trips and the others have got slightly lower. So if we were to run a campaign to find all the boroughs which are having lower card transactions, and then we want to encourage them to use card, we can target the right ones. So in this case, I would start with Queens because that's only got 57% card transactions. So that is my solution. But if you chose to use the same way we did without the city having all of those open row set in the from clause, that's fine as well. But that looks slightly bulky around here. But it is fine. And as I said before, in the forthcoming sessions, I'll introduce the external tables and views, and they'll help us hide some of this complexity and make us write code, which is more readable. So that's the end of this session. I'll see you in the next one.